G'day, this is Adam from AVA, Magnetic Levitation Australia, doing another Mad Micro RC Mods video. And this video actually sort of apologising that I haven't done a video for about 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks I think it is now, almost. It's approaching 4 weeks, which is quite shocking. It's not like I haven't been trying. And this video is a video about this helicopter and this car and all the trying that's been going on. So it's sort of an apology video about why I haven't done a video, which sort of is a video in itself. So, anyway, I'll just get started straight away and explain what's been going on. So, first up, in the comments I had people ask about doing a helicopter, getting a cheap helicopter and basically doing mods on it. So, eventually, I arranged for someone else to fly for me. Don't get me wrong, I can fly these things, but I don't anymore. I have problems with the noise that they make. And I arranged for someone else to fly it, and I basically prepared to do a video. And I bought this $15 infrared, which I like to call vampire choppers, because infrared stuff can only be flown at night for daytime, but not in direct sunlight. They catch fire and burn up or implode. Basically, infrared signals get cancelled out by direct sunlight. I think it's the infrared that comes down is too intense and it overwhelms the infrared signal. So that's why you don't fly them outside, because you might lose them. But anyway, cut a long story short, I got this helicopter, it cost 15 bucks. They're a dime a dozen, they're on the internet. This one came from Kmart. It wasn't very good when I got it. It didn't fly forwards or backwards barely at all. It's like a pendulum effect because of this top section and all that. At the end of the day, all I really did is a couple of basic mods to it, and it was 10 times better. And I don't want to modify it any further because I need to use it in the 2,000 subscriber competition video that I'm making at the moment. But I will get back to this and do more mods on it soon. So I'll show you the stock footage now quickly so you can see how bad this thing was to begin with. What I'll do now is quickly show the footage after the modifications, and keeping in mind that the reason I haven't released this as its own video is, as far as I'm concerned, putting carbon fibre skids on a helicopter, unbolting one part and changing the rear propeller, to me that's not enough mods to make up a video. You've got to do a little bit more than that. I mean, people expected me to do a little bit more than that, and I have plans for this thing. It'll be completely changed in the next video I do with it. So I'll quickly show footage now of this flying after its modifications, where it flies like a normal crappy helicopter. So it didn't make a video on itself, but it's sort of featuring in this one a little bit. Okay, this is the beatbox. It was donated to me by rcgarage.com or RC Garage store. You can go into Baronia, Victoria, or Melbourne, Victoria I should say, and you can basically buy one of these over the counter. They have other micro RCs as well. They donated this car. It had a few issues when I got it. It was an ex-shop model, but it was in reasonably good condition because they're fairly tough anyway. So I did minor repair to one part of the board and I ran the car, and it's been brilliant. I put a modified motor on it, and I did the helicopter video and then realised it wasn't enough for a video unto itself. So I decided I'll get this thing and I'll get my 5-volt booster and I'll put an adapter on it, so I can put a big battery on this end, like a 240 or a 300 with a 90C rating, something ridiculous, and I can also just plug straight into the car. So I could put this inside the car and run the car on 5 volts. Now, because the board had issues initially and I did repairs to it, which was sort of a bridging repair, when I connected it up, and I really wish I had been filming, this board blew up in my face, man. I'm not joking. There's a little dimple here and a little hole where all the stuff came out, but basically sparks and fire came out of this board. So yeah, my attempt to do the second video, Meg, please go away. Attempt to do the second video failed because I blew up my voltage booster. 300 milliamp hour battery with a maximum discharge rating of 90C. 5-volt booster, beatbox. Wish me luck. I'm a bit scared about this one. I don't know what the hell's going to go on. So yeah, so that idea basically didn't happen. So then I thought, well, I need a video. So what can I do? And then I thought, well, no one's really pushed the limits of one of these things with brushed motors. Maybe I should. So I proposed to do a video where I would run this car at 50 kilometers an hour, most likely would hit 55. I did a video where I removed the gearbox and I actually show you how to build your own gearbox. I built this gearbox here with a 12-tooth pinion and its top speed potential with the motor that I put in, which is a 50,000 RPM 8.5 by 20 coreless brushed motor. And I went out to run the car thinking, great, you know, it's tested well, everything seems okay, a little twitchy, but I thought I'd get away with it. I'll show you the video footage of what happened when I was doing these wonderfully great high-speed runs that turned out to be about 25 kilometers an hour. So, yeah, pretty sad. So anyway, there's a video on this on how to mod your gearbox on your micro. There's a video on basically how to fix a helicopter, and there's a video on how not to do a high-speed run. In some ways I apologise a little bit for the fact that I haven't released a video for at least 3 weeks, but it's not like I haven't been trying. So yeah, sorry about that to my subscribers and anyone else who likes to watch my videos on and off from time to time. I hope this is a little bit of compensation. The next video is being basically half edited and half filmed as we speak, and that's the 2,000 subscriber draw video, which is well and truly underway now. Within the next week, I'd say. So, if you like what you've seen, please tell a friend, share, subscribe, spread. Give me a thumbs up if you're all keen, and I hope to see you next time. This is Adam from AVA, Magnetic Levitation Australia. Hang on a minute. Well, how am I going to make up for all this? I'm doing the 2,000 subscriber draw video, but that was going to happen anyway. I'm very angry at this car. Extremely angry at this car. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify it. I'm going to modify this car and try and push it to the 50 kilometers plus world record that I was hoping to push with S1 coreless brush motors, and also in this scale and, you know, this particular car. I'll not only just do that though, at the same time I'm going to get one of these WL Toys, I think they're a 929 speed flux short course truck. They come by many names. They're being resold under a new name at the moment at RC Garage. I'll put that up on the screen now. I'm going to push one of these to 60 k's. I'm going to put a full house kit in this thing and push it to 60 kilometers an hour plus. I found a new place basically where I can go anytime I want and do high speed runs on an extremely flat, pristine concrete surface. And I intend to utilise that and basically have a crack, as we say in Australia, have a go. Sorry about the gap in the videos. Hope this makes up for it a bit. Obviously there's a lot more stuff on the way now. Definitely hope to see you there. This is Adam from AVA Magnetic Levitation Australia. We're finishing another Mad Micro RC Mods video, and I hope to see you next time round. Because I've assembled these the way I have, all I have to do is basically undo the 2 screws, the bottom section here, and I can lift the whole gearbox section off without having to disassemble the whole car. So, then I can just lift the gearbox section out, my rear wheel hub set and everything, with bearings that I made, carbon fibre rod. So I'll just put that aside, and that's basically what I'll be building tonight. I'll just be building a new gearbox section with a larger pinion. So the motor I'll be installing is a, I think it's a Hobby King drone motor. It's an 8.5 by 20 cordless brush motor. It does about 50,000 RPM, and I've made a 12 tooth pinion to run it on. Here's the gearbox section, which I've already harvested from another vehicle. I've already emptied everything out of the gearbox. The best thing to do is basically close the gearbox up, put 2 screws back in it for the cutting process. This is the original motor position down here. You can't use that because you'll basically end up too close to the main shaft and everything. You have to hack too much material out. I have done it, but it's just not worth the trouble. So what you tend to do is you want to try and get your motor gearbox somewhere around there, and you want to leave enough room when you're cutting that you leave, you know, maybe 3 millimeters or more before this bolt lug. That way you leave enough meat in the plastic that it doesn't break up.
Mark it, nowhere near enough, a bit more.
Okay, so now opening. Very, very carefully, what we can do now is open up the opening with a knife. That's it. There we go, that's a nice fit. Yeah, so we can well and truly get access now. Okay, I've got the gearbox, and I've had to notch out a little section here. There's a bit of plastic that sits up higher, and as you can see I've scraped it with a knife to make sure that it's completely flat. I've cut off 2 pieces of carbon rod, approximately 20 millimeters long, which is the same length as the motor. And the idea is that you glue the first one in place, like so. To do this easily, or to make it easy, I tend to use a foam safe glue, believe it or not. There's lots of different kinds, I won't go into brands and that, but the beauty of it is you can use a kicker, which is something that sets it off within seconds. So you can basically glue something in position, quick set it, and then you can fasten it with more glue or a different glue. I've also roughed up the carbon rods with a bit of sandpaper, just so the glue takes to them better. And also the side of the motor, which I'm gluing down, I've roughed that up with a file, just so the glue takes a bit better. Now, because this motor is running such a large pinion and it'll be sitting so tall, you may have to put additional supports in after these 2 rods just to help it hold. And you don't have to use carbon rods, you can use anything. A lot of the times applying this thick glue, you can just put it on something else, anything else which you're going to throw away and use as an applicator. And because the glue is nice and thick, as you can see, use something like a pin head or whatever to place it accurately where you want it. Accurately where you want it, along the joint area. There we go. Put our carbon rod in place. Put it on the end of it as well. because the glue's sort of thick, it will actually help hold it there. And look, you can look along your edges there and see it's not quite aligned yet, so you can use your edges, make sure it's pressed down properly. And then you get your kicker. Don't spray it, it's a waste. Just put a dab of it anywhere along there within the glue, and it'll spread by itself. It sets very quickly. Sometimes it'll turn the glue a little white. Just check while you're setting it, so make sure it hasn't moved. Nice and pressed down. So right up on that edge, nice and square. Yeah, so I'll let that sit. Okay, the motor gearbox setup's nearly finished. The motor's mounted. I will have to put some more reinforcing and glue in there. Just put basically more carbon rods or plastic in there with glue, just to give it more support. The mesh of the gears is fine. I've checked it out. Seems to be pretty good at the moment. The other thing that you have to do, which is a bit of a must, if you can see down there, you can see the hole where the motor used to go. It's basically where the stock motor was. You want to plug that hole up. So easy way to do that is to get an old motor, 7 by whatever, 7mm in diameter, but whatever length, it doesn't really matter, and you push the shaft down really hard on the bench. There we go. You throw away that bit and you retrieve that part, and then you get a little bit of glue. And a little bit of glue hardener just in there to get it set off straight away, so I don't have to bother with it. And then just cut off the 2 wires. Yep, you're done. It's ready to go. So got the car, the rear axle just sitting in there loosely. Got the motor gearbox. You could actually do a power up test now, but I won't until I reinforce the mounting on the motor first. And I should be able to just get that in the right spot. There we go. If I wanted to, I could probably screw it down actually. Oh yeah, I've still got that clip at the back on. That's it. Yeah, we're on. Hold it together. So all I have to do now is basically reinforce the mounting on the motor, bolt it back together with a couple of shims in my bearings, regrind my wheels so they're nice and round. These are not very round at the moment, a little bit of abuse. And away we go. We'll try and do some high speed runs and see what we get. I'll also do an RPM test of the rear wheels after I finish it off, just to work out roughly what its top speed will actually be, its potential top speed. And yeah, away we go. Okay, now I've reinforced the motor mounting a little bit, put an extra carbon rod and a flat on this side. The mesh of the gear basically shouldn't change because it's fastened down with the original gluing that I did. Blocked off the hole. Pretty much ready now to disassemble the gearbox. Before we install it in the car, it's always a good idea to take it back apart. Nothing should change. Everything now is basically on fixed pins and stuff, so, or the motor is glued in position, so nothing should actually change. The reason we do this is right there. Look at the cotton bud, it's a bit dirty. You can already see bits of plastic from when we cut open the gearbox. And the idea is to get that sort of stuff out. If you have that in there and you rebuild the gearbox with some lube and you run it, you'll find that that little bit of plastic will move around eventually. The lubricant will get hot and any loose particles will move about. They'll go through the gears and pretty much destroy them. So same with the gears, you've got to take them off and give them a good clean. And same thing again, you need to get in with a cotton bud and clean all around your pins thoroughly. So when you're satisfied that your gearbox and your gears are clean enough, I tend to use a grease or a Vaseline type grease. Tends not to destroy the plastic as far as I'm aware. You don't have to go overboard. You really only need to put grease down where there's plastic running on plastic. For instance here where the gear runs on this plastic bump, just put a bit of grease there. And that's all you need to put on that side. That's the motor side of the gearbox. You really want to get some grease right down into the bottom between the pins on that plastic down there and on the pins themselves. You don't have to grease up the teeth on the gears. If you do that, you'll basically just slow it down. That's about it for that. And the only real lubrication I do to the gears is I tend just for, as a be sure type thing, I just put a little bit extra in this surface in here. That's it. And then all you have to do from there is take your non-motor side of the gearbox, put your transfer gear in, which goes on the short pin, and then you put your other gear, which goes on the long pin. That's it. Done. And all you have to do is basically just put the two halves back together. That's essentially the gearbox swap. That's how you do it. So I don't have any others. So. Whoa! Okay, well that's interesting.